Hello everyone. I am Bodhisattva from India, and I have with me Lucas from Germany. And
Hello.
today, yeah, hi Lucas. Today we are going to talk about the environmental sustainability of the Wikimedia movement and how we can move forward to achieve that. So let's start with the harsh reality first. We believe it or not, the entire world is in distress because of humans. Temperatures are record high. Melting of polar ice caps is not breaking news today. And sadly, we are getting more and more accustomed to it. We are witnessing some of the most unprecedented events throughout the planet. Just a few weeks ago, Canada recorded more than 46 degrees centigrade temperature during a heat wave, the highest ever in its history. Germany had a devastating flood last month, which took a huge toll on the life and property of the people living there. Uh, and these are all facts, and more news of such incidents are coming regularly from different parts of the world. Now, we can debate a lot about whether or not this climate change is a reversible process, but it is certain that we are entering a hot future. It is almost certain that increasing sea level might lead to a migration crisis in near future. So for now, 20,000 years, carbon dioxide emissions were almost stable, but it spiked exponentially during the last 100 years thanks to the direct effect of industrial revolution. Uh, we are responsible for that. Small and big plant and animal species from both land and water are going extinct because of their inability to adapt to this rapidly changing environment. Human health is also getting worse due to environmental changes. Now, we like it or not, life on our planet is dying, and we somehow need to act now. We, as Wikimedians, just like any other human being in this world, are also part of the problem. Even though from externally it looks very trivial on a global scale, uh, but for example, our major data centers run on conventional energy. So if you see the picture, you can see the power plant that provides the electricity of our data center in Texas. Uh, our carbon footprints increase through every global or regional physical conference, which we organize by bringing people across continents, and through our dependency on flights over other modes of transportation, our reluctance to use public transportations, etc. Um, I have tried to make it a short list, but actually the list of bad news is much longer. Now, the good news is we are a powerful brand, and we have an amazing community which have done some awesome and cool works for the last 2 decades and are still doing. So let's walk with Lucas to see how Wikimedians have acted on the climate crisis before and how we can take some more steps forward to a better future.
Yes, and of course the most exciting story in this regard is how the community is covering these events and these developments and the fight against it on the Wikimedia projects. And of course, there's a lot of projects that we could mention here, a few of them, and it's not just but also the Wikimedians for Sustainable Development user group that is working to improve coverage of climate topics on the Wikimedia projects. And just a few days ago, the UN published its most recent report on the climate crisis, on climate change. And here you can see the opening paragraph in the English and in the Arabic version. And so it's a global crisis and we are covering it globally. And of course, it's not just, the scientific facts, but it's also the emotions and the pictures that come with it. Here is a winning picture from the Wiki Loves Earth photo competition. Or here you see one of the most recent winners of Wiki Loves Butterfly. We heard about that project in yesterday's ceremony. And yeah, so we need to talk more about the climate crisis and cover it better on the Wikimedia projects, but we also need to reduce our own carbon footprint. And that has become part of our strategy. In the movement strategy recommendations, there's a sentence that says, we will also align our practices to support the environmental sustainability of our planet. And that was in May of last year. And at the start of this year, we met, and here you can see a lot of the people that participated in the discussion at the start of this year. You can see the two of us, but also people from around the world discussing this issue and how we should address this. And we came up with 2 points. One is that we want to achieve a carbon neutral Wikimedia movement by 2030. We want to move to carbon neutral data centers. We want to provide infrastructure for virtual meetings such as this one, so we fly less. And we want to provide reliable and accessible information about the climate crisis on the projects by identifying content gaps and by creating partnerships to close them. And that was adopted in February. And now we need to talk about what are we going to do about this. And this is where Wikimedia France, so the French Wikimedia chapter, steps in. Because in France, there has been a big discussion about the climate crisis and how the government and society as a whole are responsible to find a solution. And based on an idea of one of the team members of Wikimedia France, we created what's called the Wikimedia Affiliates Environmental Sustainability Covenant, which is an agreement between Wikimedia affiliates to become more active in the field of environmental sustainability. And this is the text that you can find on Meta, and I'll give you a quick summary of what it says. It says that the affiliates that join the Wikimedia Sustainability Covenant commit to reducing their carbon footprints through a number of measures and talk about how each of them can do their part to reduce their carbon footprint. They want to support improving sustainability topics on the Wikimedia projects. We want to share stories and encourage others. So we want to talk about how we can become more environmentally sustainable as a movement. And we released the first version of the covenant on Meta just a couple of weeks ago. And 4 Wikimedia affiliates have already signed. The first one being, of course, the Wikimedian Sustainable Development. The second one being the West Bengal Wikimedians User Group, and Bodhi is here from that group to talk about it. Wikimedia Deutschland, so the German chapter, and I already mentioned them, Wikimedia France. And so we are super excited about this. And of course, we want to invite you to, after this conference, to ask your affiliate to join. We are already in conversations with another handful of affiliates to co-sign this covenant. Some have already proposed, amendments, improvements of the text. We'll have to discuss those. But of course, first of all, it's important that we start moving forward. So we don't just have meetings to come up with strategies like this, but to put them into action. And this is, of course, just one small building stone out of the big movement strategy. But of course, it's an important one because the climate crisis is super urgent. And that's why also the community voted to prioritize this issue. And that's why we want to move forward. And that's why we are excited to present this initiative to you and to discuss it with you. And I think we still have some time to talk. And yeah, thank you very much for your attention. And now we're excited to hear your questions and comments. Okay, so we don't have any questions in the chat yet, but we'll also be checking the Etherpad, so please post any questions or comments in there. Maybe I can go ahead by presenting some of the things that affiliates are thinking about doing to reduce their footprint. One, of course, is switching to green energy. One is flying less, but how do you fly less is by implementing policies that ask affiliate members and representatives to use public transport where possible. And of course, it needs to be adapted to local contexts. So for example, when community members meet in India, which is such a big country, taking the bus is not really an option. But of course, in the Netherlands, it's a different thing. I remember being at a meeting in the Netherlands, and a board member of Wikimedia Netherlands came by bike from a different city, and so that was cool. And of course, it's switching to going paperless in the affiliate office, and a lot of things. And of course, we are hoping to share new stories and inspirations with everyone. And of course, you can go on Meta and check out the document, and I'll share it again so you can see it, and it should be visible now. And again, that is the page, or the page name, Wikimedia Affiliates Environmental Sustainability Covenant. And it's a bit longer than the point that I just presented, but yeah. And I think the most exciting aspect of it is this conference, because we always talk about the servers. So we talk about green energy for the Wikimedia servers, but the biggest part of our carbon footprint is actually flights. And so we need to be creative in flying less. And of course, it's exciting for Wikimedians to meet, and it's important for Wikimedians to meet. I think Bodhi and I would not have this presentation together if not for a few meetings, but some of the meetings between Bodhi and me were actually virtual, which of course is more tedious than a physical meeting, but we need to be creative in flying less, and this conference is of course a big step forward in that regard. And so we hope that we can carry over some of the experiences and learnings from this conference to future physical meetings. So future physical meetings can be actually virtual. And we'll share some links, and of course this presentation online as well, so that you can check it out. And yeah. Bodhi, what do you think? Do we have any questions yet, or is there anything you would like to add?
I think we have no questions on Etherpad, so and we have also 5 minutes left, so you can just point out the covenant agreement one by one, or I can do that if you say.
Yeah, okay. I already talked about our flying less.
Yes.
What else is important? Oh yeah, financial investments. That's an exciting thing. So Wikimedia Italy was the first affiliate that adopted a sustainable investment policy. And of course, Wikimedia Italy does not have big financial investments, but they thought it was important to set an example. And so this is something we can all learn from, and maybe the Wikimedia Endowment will learn from this example when it becomes a separate entity in the course of 2021. And yeah, and earlier, the Wikimedia Foundation had a tree planting program. So the Wikimedia Foundation entered a partnership with an organization that is planting trees to fight climate change. And there's currently a big discussion going on how planting trees can actually be harmful. And so we need to talk about how we can, mitigate these issues. All right, and we'll be around at the conference. Bodhi, I think you already have like found your one spot
Yeah.
on the 6th floor, is it? Where people can meet you?
Yeah, it's the building 1, floor 4, and table 19. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, not the 6th
So
floor. Sorry,
I
it's
will
the
be
building
there.
1, floor 4. Yes.
Yeah, I will be there most of the time, except in the late nights and early mornings. But I will.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the crazy thing about the conference, that people having
Yeah.
breakfast at different times and not together. All right,
Yeah.
so we're excited for this opportunity to share the Wikimedia Affiliates Environmental Sustainability Covenant with you. Thank you to the organizers and to the interpreters. I don't know if you were watching this in English or in a different language. Yeah, and enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your conference. I'm about to have lunch. Bodhi is probably about to have dinner. And wherever you are, maybe someone is having breakfast.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Bye bye.